Hi, my name's Josh from Drum Highway, and before this webinar is over, I want to share with you the 3 keys that allow me to play 5 gigs a week with 5 different bands, so you don't have to spend the next 10 years studying, practicing, and dragging your drums all over the world like I did. It's going to feel like you have superpowers, and that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? With your newfound superpowers, you can save the world. Okay, maybe I'm overstating that a bit, but it will make playing music a lot more fun. My goal for you with this webinar is to be a successful drummer. And what is success? Well, I tell you, it really can mean a lot of different things. I've had drummers that won auditions for international touring bands and started playing around the world. I've had students that became working freelance drummers, joined their first band and started playing gigs, started bands that wrote, recorded, and released albums of original music, hung out with the friends on the weekend and had jam sessions, played along to records in the basement, became recording session drummers, or started playing with their church praise band. Many of the ideas we're going to talk about today went into my book, Drum Highway. It was even featured in Modern Drummer magazine. I built all these concepts into a website to help drummers find their musical path. And these resources have received great endorsements from world-renowned drummers. Steve Ferroni of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Average White Band, and Eric Clapton says, "In my experience, what separates the best musicians from the impressive technicians is their ability to get inside the music they are playing, to understand the essence of it and express it through their instrument. That's why I'm loving Drum Highway." Mark Walker, Grammy Award winner and professor of percussion at Berklee College of Music, says, "Drum Highway is amazingly thorough. I think it's not only great for beginners, but for advanced players." And this year, I'm proud to say I've become a brand ambassador for Remo Drumheads. I've been playing Remo for 30 years, and it's really great to be part of the family now. Before we go too far, I think it's important to give you the Drum Highway Your Mileage May Vary disclaimer. I think it's safe to say you know you're not going to be playing 5 gigs a week with 5 different bands right away, right? At first, I just wanted to get 1 gig in 1 band. I practiced tons of technique, I learned new styles. Knowing more styles, I joined a second band. Wouldn't it be cool if you were playing in 1 band, you began to learn other things, all of a sudden, boom, you're playing in a second band. From there, I played more gigs, I got more confidence, people saw me getting better. People liked my new sound and they called me to play gigs. I started to build momentum. You know, wouldn't it be great to be playing more gigs with different bands, they're seeing you play, and next thing you know, you're getting more calls. This built and grew over time, and now I play, sub, or record with 30 to 40 bands a year in all styles. Imagine how great it would feel to have the information to play with that many bands. You may not be looking to play with 40 bands a year, but maybe you're looking to have that information to put into your single project or play with a couple different bands. But having that option and that information would be amazing, wouldn't it? At this point, you may be wondering, who is this Josh Quirk dude anyway? From the day I started drumming, I was fascinated with playing all styles of music. Rock, blues, jazz, country, big band, Dixieland, African high life, funk, Latin, reggae. If it had a drum set, I would play it. I made it my mission to learn and play every style of music I could. I lived by this credo: play any gig, anywhere, anytime, with anyone, for any amount of money. That led me to touring all over the United States and Canada. This was the country band I played with in Canada. I'm in the back with the mullet. You are welcome. I even did several European tours. I spent many years in Los Angeles playing and recording with top-notch players. I got to play with some phenomenal artists like Arno McCullough, an amazing singer who tours with James Taylor and Phil Collins. I even played drums in the Disney movie The Country Bears. And no, I'm not one of the bear suits. The amazing discovery of learning all these styles of music was that I was able to see the connection between them. And once I understood that, I was able to learn new styles very quickly. I left LA to take a great job touring with a band around the Midwest. I set up my teaching studio and started helping drummers of all ages and skill levels achieve their musical goals. At this time in my life, education became my main focus. I studied closely where and how drummers got stuck. It really became my obsession. I developed beats, patterns, and systems to solve the technical issues and help drummers get through their roadblocks. I had a student named Jesse that came to me and he was working on some jazz phrasing. He was having some real coordination problems, so I figured out exactly what the 2 or 3 things were that were holding him up. I wrote down these 10 exercises. We spent 20 minutes going through it. Then I put the original exercise back up and I said, don't think, just play it. He immediately played it, perfect, no mistakes at all. He looked at me and he said, what did you just do to me? And I said, I didn't do anything to you, but I figured out where the problem was, we worked on it, and when you put all that stuff together, bam, you could do it. It was exciting to see these ideas start to work. Things like the breakdown method, the inversions workshop, the jazz coordination key. These things really did become like magic tricks. It was so awesome to see these students succeed. When Matthew started the course, he was playing in his church praise band. We got him through some technical issues and connected some new musical styles, and now he plays with a couple other bands as well. One of his new groups is the horn band, playing songs by bands like Chicago. Wouldn't that be a blast? When I met Justin, he was playing in the local community college. We smoothed out a bunch of technical issues with his playing, and he started doing solo recitals and performances with the local college orchestra. After that, he auditioned for the University of Illinois School of Music, and now he is a graduate of the University of Illinois in music. Amazing story. So who is this for? Have you hit a wall in your playing and you feel burnt out? You want to learn new music styles, but you don't think you have the time it takes to improve. You want to play with better players, but you lack confidence. You are frustrated and don't even know where to find inspiration. You're excited to learn new things and take your drumming in a new direction. So who is this for? It's for everyone. It's for rock drummers, jazz drummers, funk drummers, country drummers, beginning drummers, gigging drummers. It's for whatever other kind of drummers I left out, and I just want to put this picture of Animal up there. And here are some of the incredible drummers and educators that have gone through this program.
I've been using Josh's Inversions Workshop for a couple months now, and I have to say it's brought a new level of consistency and confidence to my playing. When I go out on gigs, I'm not stretching quite as much to do different things, and I think a lot of that is because I've been practicing all of the different combinations of limbs and hands and feet, and the independence isn't as much of an issue as it used to be.
Here's what we're going to talk about today. The 3 keys. Key number 1, how to master the technical tricks needed to play any groove quickly. When you can see the building blocks on how grooves are constructed, it's easy to learn them. And once you understand how to remove tension and friction, your playing will smooth out and flow like never before. Key number 2, how to play, understand, and connect all styles of music in a few weeks. When you know how to learn any beat, you can play any style. The more styles you learn, the faster you will master them because the connections are so clear after you comprehend the mechanics. And key number 3, how to make experienced musical decisions that get you callbacks right away. After you conquer the technical issues and begin to connect styles together, your attention will shift to what's happening around you to support, react, and make decisions at a much higher musical level. When you can do that, people will call you to play with them. Key number 1, how to master the technical tricks needed to play any groove quickly. Does drumming ever feel hard to do? You try to play a beat, but your limbs won't go where you want them to. Your muscles seem to log jam. It's difficult and confusing to learn new grooves. Certain beats make you feel lost. You think, I'm never going to get this. Throwing things sometimes feels like a good option. Well, let me tell you something. If you've ever felt like throwing things or actually just smashed on your drums, you are a drummer. And at this time, I'd like to welcome you. Welcome. The technical side of drumming has never come easy for me. Seems to come easy for some people, but not for me. It just didn't work out that way. Quick story about that. Years ago, I was learning an Afro-Cuban groove. Probably took me a week or so to get it solid. I finally got it going, and I showed it to a drummer friend of mine who was pretty technically proficient. He said, "Cool groove," and immediately sat down and played it. And I just thought, really? Why is it so easy for them? You ever felt that way? But an amazing thing came from that, and all those hours spent shedding that beat and many others. I was forced to do a lot of intense research to figure out exactly where the pitfalls were and how to get over them so I could learn any groove on the drums. And this is what I pass on to the people I work with. When you can do that, it doesn't matter what the beat is because you're going to be able to play it. Imagine what it's like to know you can learn anything you want to. Seriously, just stop for a second and imagine what it would feel like and say to yourself, I could learn any beat that I want to. How does that feel? I think it should feel pretty good. So in the end, all those challenges wound up being a good thing, you know? At this point, you may be thinking, hey, thanks, Captain Obvious. Drums are hard to play. So now what? But I'm here to tell you that it's not that hard. And if you use the keys I'm going to show you, you can play anything you want to. The first thing we have to do is remove the resistance. You improve your coordination and make peace with the internal combat by listening to your body and understanding how it moves. When you can isolate where the friction is coming from, you can solve it. In fact, just thinking about where the resistance is directs energy to it to untangle the issue. Sounds weird, but it's true. Here's some research from Colorado State University. Self-directed neuroplasticity, and that is a lot of big words for a drummer. Neuroplasticity. is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural pathways throughout life and in response to experiences. While the brain usually does it itself in response to injury or disease, when humans focus their attention enough, they can slowly rewire these pathways themselves. Is that pretty wild or what? It's a full body operation. All the limbs are going. Our brains and body must be relaxed to execute. How to relax? Well, we breathe. You don't have to become a meditation guru, but taking the time to understand where the tension is allows you to breathe through. Don't hold your breath. It's the number one thing drummers do when getting ready to play something new or that seems like it may be difficult. Let's do a little breathing exercise together. Now, you don't even have to be at a drum set to do this. You can kind of tap on your legs if you want to, but it's actually better, I think, if you do some air drumming because there's breathing and tension. I think it's going to be better if you're moving your arms around a little bit more. I mean, plus, we all like to air drum, don't we? If you've never air drummed to Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight, or played the drum fills from Rush's Tom Sawyer, well, I mean, you just haven't lived. That's living. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to hold your breath, and then I want you to start to air drum just a straight kind of rock beat like this. So we're going to take a deep breath, but I want you to hold it, put some pressure on there. Here we go. Hold it. Now start pressure. Play. It's hard to do when you're moving your arms around. Okay, let go of that. Okay. I got a bit of a head rush, and it's not really the best plan. Did you notice what was going on there? A lot of log jams, a lot of pressure, and certainly no amount of relaxation happening. Many drummers, when they go to play a drum beat that seems like it's going to be difficult or something they're doing for the first time, they hold their breath and then they try to play it. And that is not a super great idea. Let's try it another way. I want you to rest your arms at your side. Now, this is what I get drummers to do when they get uptight. I want you to take a deep breath in and lift your shoulders. And then exhale and let them drop. Inhale. Let them drop. Now, I want you to slowly bring your arms up and try to play that beat again. Do you notice anything different now? Now we're playing a little slower and it's less crazy, but the point is it's much more relaxed, it's much more flowing, there's no log jam, you can concentrate on what you're doing, and lastly, the most important thing is you're relaxed, so you can actually start to play some music. The point of all those breathing exercises was to get to the point, and there are actually 3 points. And these 3 points make up the technical tricks needed to play any groove quickly. I think we'd all like to be able to learn any groove quickly, wouldn't we? When I work through these concepts with students, they get instantaneous results. It's amazing to see them break through these roadblocks. The focus point, a hi-hat, ride cymbal, or some consistent part of the kit the other limbs can play too. The grounding point, finding a beat to keep you from getting lost. And the tension point, where are you getting tangled and how do you untangle it? Shall we get into it? The focus point. So that's having the hi-hat, ride cymbal, or some consistent part of the groove that you can focus on and make the other parts play to it. So we're just going to take this basic rock beat, for example. Not much to it, pretty sure you can play it. But when I show beginning drummers how to play that beat, it can often create a tangle. And they don't really know where to put their focus. They're thinking about the bass drum, the snare drum, the hi-hat. They don't really know what to do. So I say, hey, focus just on the hi-hat. Get that going. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Then I'll say, after that, bring in the bass drum and snare drum and make those things play to that hi-hat part. 1, 2, hi-hat first. 1, 2, 3, add the bass. I'll also say, look at it while you're playing that part to see that you're playing all the notes. Because a lot of times, if that's your consistent part, they'll drop out the snare, they'll drop out the bass drum, whatever. But you get the idea. Have a place where you can put your energy and make the other parts of the groove play to that. Now, ultimately, we want this to sound like a composite rhythm and not individual parts. But sometimes you have to get the technical going before you can get the music to happen. So that is focus point. Let's talk about the grounding point, finding a beat to keep you from getting lost. Some grooves are disorienting and you don't know where you are when you're playing halfway through. So if you have something that can anchor you, a grounding point, it'll keep you from getting lost. Let's use this basic groove as an example. 3, 4. So this is a great beat as a starting point. Now we're going to start removing bass drum notes out. First, we're going to take out that and of 2. So the bass drum's just going to play on beat 1 and the and of 3. So here's what that sounds like. 3, 4. Now I will often ask beginning drummers if it feels like a lot of time between beat 1 and the and of 3. It's like they're looking at their watch like going, anytime you want to get to the and of 3, it'd be cool, man. And the reason why that happens is because they don't have a grounding point. So what I'll tell them is, I need you to think about beat 3. See, we're Westerners, most of us, and we think about AC/DC. Dun, dun, da da dun, da da dun. So when I'm playing that groove, if I keep track of beat 3, I can play the bass drum on the and of 3, the snare drum on 4, and I'm good to go. I'm not getting lost anymore. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just place a little mental marker on beat 3, and then I can play off of that. And check out this other example. Now we're going to play the bass drum on 1 and the and of 2. It's going to sound like this. 3, 4. So on this one, I'll ask beginning drummers if after that and of 2, they feel like they just got lifted up out of their drum seat and they're sort of floating around. And they will often say yes, because that and of 2 is an upbeat and they don't have any grounding on beat 3. So place the mental marker on beat 3, then you hit 4 after that on the snare drum, you're golden. 1, 2, 3, 4. And lastly, the tension point. I can't even, hold on a minute. Where are you getting tangled in the groove? So we'll use this basic 16th note groove as our example. So there you have your basic 16th note fill-in. That's kind of what's going on. So again, a lot of beginning drummers, when they start to do that, they don't realize that now the hands have to play against each other. Many of the early grooves, everything's playing together, or they go to play this beat, instead of da-da-da, they're going to try to play them all together, or they're going to get tangled with the bass drum. Everything just goes in all different kinds of directions. It's a huge problem. It's that log jam. So what you want to do is find the point of tension. Where is it? And this can occur for any groove. We're using these basic examples for now, but as you're playing more advanced stuff, you're just going to have to seek out that one spot and then pick it apart like this. So here's how this is going to work. The hands have to go against each other. So I'll simply have them play against each other. At that point, you realize it's really okay for those things to be going in different directions. Then I'll have them add the bass drum to match the hi-hat where that is. So that first beat will be 1 E and, 1 E and. Then they're going back to playing a rock beat like they did before. And that's all they did before. And. So now the whole thing is kind of relaxed. They've broken down, they found the tension point, they figured out what's going on. Now you can put those first 2 beats together. 3 and 4 and 1 and. I can do that again. 3 and 4 and 1 and. Problem solved. You know where the tension is. Now, if you keep getting tangled, not a big deal. You go back to playing this a little bit more. You pick apart what the problem is, then you put the whole thing back together again. So here's the whole thing, all together, no tension. 3 and 4 and. So there you have it. Focus point, figure out where to concentrate. Grounding point, figure out what beat you need to not get lost. And tension point, figure out how to untangle it so you can play the groove. And then from there, well, the problem is solved. What do you want to play? So knowing these elements of how to learn a groove is much more important than just learning a bunch of beats. Because when you understand this, you can play anything. Does that make sense? Key number 2, how to play, understand, and connect all styles of music in a few weeks. Some of you may be thinking, learning a completely new style of music and all the grooves must take forever. I probably have to completely start over for each style. If I have to do that for 5 new styles, I'll be 100 years old before I can do it. I'd like to learn a new style of music, but I don't have the time. It seems impossible to jump from one style of music to another. I don't see the point of learning other styles. I hear where you're coming from, but I gotta tell you this. The more music I play, the more I see all music is connected. It actually gets easier. You'll hear familiar ideas and grooves, and it makes learning new things much faster because you already know it. You may be thinking, that's nice for you, Josh, but how about the real world and all of us folks who live there? Well, let me give you an example. I had a student who really wanted to play punk rock, and my response was awesome. Let's start off by playing Mama Tried by Merle Haggard. They looked at me like I was a crazy person. So that's what we did. We checked out Mama Tried by Merle Haggard. I turned 21 in prison doing life without parole. One could give me right. Mama tried, Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better. I just did that. I'm sorry. So I was like, okay, cool, you got that? All right, now let's check out Rise Above by Black Flag. And so we did. We checked out Rise Above by Black Flag. It's a good song, though. Notice anything? That's right. The country beat and the punk rock beat are the same beat. Same beat, different attitude. You go to your country gig, you wear your cowboy hat. You play the same beat. Do dat, paycheck, paycheck. You go to the punk gig, you take that hat off, you get that mohawk as high as you possibly can. And just like that, bam, pow, you just connected two styles of music. Pretty cool, huh? And this has been the key number 2 concept all along. You already know more than you realize. Okay, so here's something a little less obvious. Those other 2 grooves, boop bop, and boop bop. Not too hard to hear. This one, a little less obvious. So we're going to start by playing a basic bossa nova. So that bossa nova is kind of a 2-bar phrase. And the first bar of it, the way that we're playing it, is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, the second bar was 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. But for this example, we're just going to deal with only the first bar. Now, if we take just that first bar and we think about a song by, say, the Foo Fighters, Learn to Fly, you get something like this. 1, 2. That is the first bar of a bossa nova, but instead of playing it on the rim, he's playing it on the snare drum. It's exactly the same. Now, I don't know if he was thinking about a bossa nova when that happened, but certainly influenced by different styles of the world, and you can certainly hear the connection. One, a traditional Brazilian groove, the other, a modern rock song. 2 more styles connected. Learn to Fly was the first bar of the bossa, but we're playing it on the rim instead of the snare. This next example just takes it a little further out, but I think you'll recognize it. So there's this new band you guys maybe never heard of. They're called the Beatles, and they're really good. So that was obviously Ticket to Ride. That's Ringo. He's doing some amazing stuff. He's got the bossa going. He's not playing the hi-hat. He's just playing it as a drum groove, just set on the snare and toms. And he's playing that bossa. And then he moves that second note to the tom-tom. So he replaces the bass drum to go and 1, and he goes and 1. And you know what that is? Brilliant. Were you able to hear it? To go from this really cool. Bossa nova, again, bossa, Beatles, Brazilian, Beatles, Bossa, Learn to Fly, modern rock. It's all connected. When you understand key number 2, things come together. Most grooves are created from similar component parts. When you can see that, learning new styles is fast. Look for ideas and pieces you're familiar with and build from there. Master these fundamentals and switching between styles is easy. Can you now see why knowing more styles is helpful? Do you think you could do this now? When you think about it correctly, it's not science rocket. Funny story about that. So I was playing in a duo. I was actually playing guitar with a singer, and we were playing in a bunch of gigs. And our group was called Rocket Science, because that's what you name your duo, Rocket Science. So we played a bunch of gigs, and then one day we showed up at this club, and we looked up on the marquee, and it said, "Tonight, performing Science Rocket." And so, I was kind of shocked, but I thought 2 things about that. I thought, number 1, how does somebody mess up rocket science and call it Science Rocket? And then the second part I thought was, well, I guess that's the name of our group now. We're called Science Rocket from here on out. So the moral is, no matter what you do, always play music, because even if you don't get a lot out of the music, the stories will always be worth it. We went through 5 styles of music in 5 minutes, and you mastered them. Well done. It's fun to learn things that fast, isn't it? As you can see, these concepts work. If they didn't, they wouldn't be used by top-notch educators. Like Dr. Matthew Endress, drum set and drumline instructor at the University of Wisconsin. He says, "I use Josh's method in my drum studio at the University of Wisconsin. Drum Highway is a fantastic resource for any drummer who's looking to improve their playing." I'm honored that Big Ten colleges are using these techniques to get great results for their future professional drummers and educators. But these ideas cross the spectrum. You don't need years of experience to understand and use these ideas. Here's Jennifer. She started the course a year ago with no previous background. Now she's in a band and just played her first gig. I couldn't be happier for her. Remember how exciting it was to play your first gig? It's just really cool. Key number 3, how to make experienced musical decisions that get you callbacks right away. Key number 3 comes very naturally when you master keys 1 and 2. When you're not using all your energy to play a beat, you can listen to what others are playing. This allows you to assess what's happening and make good music choices. Should I play less, more, change the groove, react to the singer or the solo, alter dynamics? When you have mastered and understand different music styles, there won't be surprises. When there's no tension in your playing, your feel is good. Good feel means you make it easier for everyone else to play. People really notice that and will call you to play again. When you have all this stuff together, key number 3, well, it's like falling off a log. Ultimately, I should be the last thing that I'm focused on. I really need to be able to react to anything. When I'm concentrating and paying attention to what's happening around me, a couple really powerful things can come out of that. First, you're able to make good musical decisions. You can respond to dynamics. Should I be on the ride cymbal? Should I be on the hi-hat? What's going on with the singer or the soloist? Have they brought things way back? Have they pushed things further than usual? Is there a new energy that I need to be able to respond to? Did something different happen in the arrangement? When I'm paying attention to what's happening around me and I've got my stuff together so I can groove and make everything feel good, I can respond to those things, and what happens is people think you're a mind reader. I've had people turn around and say to me, "How did you even know I was going to do that?" And it's just, I'm not a mind reader. I was just paying attention. The other thing that happens when you're paying attention and you're concentrating is that amazing musical moments can come to pass. And this, I can promise you, these are the kind of things that transcend any sort of technical playing of music. Take a moment to think about some music that has moved you or continues to move you every time you hear it. The hair on your neck comes up, a memory gets brought up, maybe there's an emotional response in there somewhere. It's powerful stuff, right? Well, you could be the drummer in the band and have that experience in real time with other musicians around you. And then you could transmit that experience to others the way that you heard it. I remember the very first time I had that experience. I was playing in an African high life band called Bantuku. Check out this photo from the gig. The trumpet player was playing a solo and he was building this thing up, and we were playing and building this thing up and building this down. Bam! And we came out on the downbeat. I mean, like the surge of adrenaline that went up my spine and my brain was insane. And it was as if it all launched out and the whole room went, just like that. I mean, I remember it clear as day. It was one of the most powerful things that ever happened to me, and I have been trying to get that back every time I play ever since that day. Other decisions we have to make are a little bit more mechanical. Sometimes you get misinformation on accident. Someone tells you the wrong thing. Happens. Sometimes people tell you the wrong thing on purpose. They try to vibe you out or they're testing you. It's kind of a drag, but it does happen. I need to be ready for that. I was actually playing a gig one time with a well-known Chicago blues artist, and we got up on the bandstand to play. I was covering the gig last minute. And we got up on the bandstand to play, and the guitar player, who wouldn't really talk to me, said, "Hey, this first song is a Latin." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Really? It's a Latin?" And so the band leader started into a complete shuffle. And I looked at him like, "Nah, okay, I see you. I see you." It happens sometimes. And if I was thinking Latin and I wasn't able to make a new decision and go, "There's no possible way that I'm going to play a Latin beat over this. It's a straight ahead shuffle," I would have been in a real jam and I would look like a real ding dong. So, fortunately, I was able to catch it. I made the good decision. We played the set. All was good. And I guess I passed the test because when we took the first break, he came up to me and he said, "You're a good musician." And that's not because I'm the super greatest musician in the world, but it is because I know how to make good decisions. At the highest level of playing, very little is discussed. Everybody knows that the people there are capable of making good decisions and they trust them to do that. I go to a lot of gigs where no one really says anything. We sit down, we play the music, everybody's making good decisions, everybody goes home. That's really ultimately at the highest level the way people like it. So you don't even really have to communicate that much verbally if you know how to make those good decisions. If you can do that, you're going to get the callback. The other important decision is, how do you want to sound on the drums? What's the musical statement you want to make with your playing? I spent years learning different styles and kind of being a chameleon. I didn't know if I had a sound, but I did. I was certainly influenced by great drummers, but also by bass players, piano players, guitar players, singers, horn players, and composers that I work with and listen to. But be cautious. There are some amazing drummers on places like YouTube. The problem is, if we all listen to the same 10 drummers, we'll all sound the same. I encourage you to explore. Seek out new music, drummers, but also singers and bass players, veteran players, and the up-and-coming. Go see live music. Some of my biggest influences were musicians from my hometown. But I also look outside of music. Art, museums, writers and movie makers, scientists, and my favorite place, the great outdoors. Hiking in the mountains has had a powerful influence on me, and therefore, my music. All these elements shape us and help us to find our own unique voice. I'm not going to lie to you, it takes some effort. But as the great Miles Davis once said, "Man, sometimes it takes a long time to sound like yourself." I have found this search extremely rewarding and worthwhile. You're the only one who can sound like you, and you get to decide what that is. Okay, so, that was a lot to take in. How about a deep breath? Have you enjoyed our time together today? Did you learn anything valuable? See anything in a new light? Found some new ideas you're excited to try? Is it fair to say that using these concepts would be advantageous to your sound and improve what you love to do? With what we have talked about, I can say with complete confidence, you now have a framework to improve your playing, sound, and decision-making today. I am certain that with this information and your own resources, you are ready to adventure into new playing situations and achieve things you didn't know were possible. Let me ask you a question. I realize I can talk fast. Sometimes I might sound like a crazy person, but we've learned some things and had a few laughs today, haven't we? Even so, I'm guessing you might be able to relate to this fellow. Just a bit. I understand, I get it. I love talking about these concepts, but it's a lot to ask someone to process 25 years of information in a short period of time. With all that said, if there was a way for us to continue this conversation, would you be interested? Do you think that if we investigated further, I could enhance your drumming by teaching you the secrets I've learned in the last 25 years and set your music journey for inevitable success? If I had the resources, support systems, and additional insights that will provide you total clarity and understanding of how to get the results you want and discover your own unique voice on the drums, would you be curious about that? If I had a way for you to do all this, would you want to hear more about it and what it could do for you, your drumming, and overall musicianship? I put together a package called the Complete Drummer Roadmap. The Complete Drummer Roadmap is a way for you to master and implement all these ideas in 8 weeks. Do you mind if I take a second to show you what's inside the Complete Drummer Roadmap? Let's check it out. The Complete Drummer Roadmap is a group mentorship program. It combines self-paced learning modules with weekly group coaching sessions that involve workshops and question and answer sessions. By the end of our 8 weeks together, we will free your body to play whatever you want, expand your creativity to exciting new levels, understand all styles of music, revolutionize how you make musical decisions, and be connected to a group and meet lifelong friends. When you complete this 8-week program, you will be a transformed, confident drummer in high demand, period. And who doesn't want that? The other great thing about the Drummer Roadmap is that it's a group. In addition to your individual efforts, the group setting is a powerful asset for improvement. Now, I want to be clear about the group. Music is not a competition sport. How would being in a group benefit you? Well, you'll surround yourself with others seeking the same goals. It provides accountability, motivation, and support. Everyone's moving at their own pace, and that's actually a good thing. You'll be having fun while learning, so it reduces stress and any self-imposed anxiety. Many of our members have tried other programs, but it wasn't until they surrounded themselves with others on the same path, using these resources and methods, that allowed them these amazing results quickly. So what do you get with the Complete Drummer Roadmap? 8 weeks of live coaching sessions. Week 1, how to learn any beat using the breakdown method, discovering the hidden beats, free your bass drum foot, straight 8th and 16th note grooves, building a musical phrase, the one beat to rule them all. Week 2, the inversions workshop, the secret code of drumming, removing limb friction, opening your creativity. Week 3, the 4 on the floor pivot, shuffles for all styles, the infamous halftime shuffle, and how to play the fill-in triplets, and also some 6/8 and 12/8 grooves. Week number 4, why jazz matters, even if you don't want to play it, the jazz coordination key, and jazz time grooves for jazz-ish situations, which actually come up quite often. Week 5, oh say can you American beat, American beats, including the music of New Orleans and the mountains, and also another rhythm I call the skeleton beat. Lots of fun. Week 6, world beats, only the ones you really need and how they actually get used. It's often in Latin rock, Latin jazz, Latin funk, Latin pop. You get the idea. Week 7, finally some fills. The drum fills workshop, and something I call the best fill in the world because, well, it's the best fill in the world. Week 8, decisions, mixing the colors. Go forth and spread the good groove and find your sound. All the self-paced learning modules are housed and easy to find on the Drum Highway website that you will have lifetime access to. That's right, 8 weeks of live coaching sessions and a lifetime membership to Drum Highway. You'll also get your course roadmap. It's directions and a guide to show you exactly how to get to your final destination. Drumming mastery, of course. 8 weeks of live coaching sessions, lifetime membership to Drum Highway, the course roadmap. Also included is a copy of Drum Highway Book 1 Straight 8th, Where It All Began. Over 200 pages of exercises and concepts to help transform your playing. We use a lot of this book during the course. You'll also get hundreds of other pages to support the self-paced curriculum. 8 weeks of live coaching sessions, a lifetime membership to Drum Highway, the course roadmap, Drum Highway Book 1 Straight 8th. You also get the Inversions Workshop, a standalone course that I've sold for years, and I decided to add and feature it as part of the Complete Drummer Roadmap program. You're going to be blown away by how it improves your independence and creativity. 8 weeks of live coaching sessions, a lifetime membership to Drum Highway, the course roadmap, Drum Highway Book 1 Straight 8th, the Inversions Workshop, and you'll also be part of the Complete Drummer Roadmap Inner Circle, an online group where you can ask questions, share knowledge, and celebrate success. 8 weeks of live coaching sessions, lifetime membership to Drum Highway, the course roadmap, Drum Highway Book 1 Straight 8th, the Inversions Workshop, the Drummer Roadmap Inner Circle. I've also added the triplet cycle system to the program. After you practice these triplet warm-ups for practice pad and drum set, your control and flow with these rhythms will be at a new level. It's also fantastic for your jazz technique. It's getting crazy, people. 8 weeks of live coaching sessions, lifetime membership to Drum Highway, course roadmap, Drum Highway Book 1 Straight 8th, the Inversions Workshop, the Drummer Roadmap Inner Circle, the Triplet Cycle System, and to tie it all together, the Drum Highway Practice Guide, Simple, effective ways to organize and think about your practice time and keep you on track. These are ideas that I use all the time. I think you can see where this is going. 8 weeks of live coaching sessions, lifetime membership to Drum Highway, the course roadmap, Drum Highway Book 1 Straight Eighth, the Inversions Workshop, Drummer Roadmap Inner Circle, the Triplet Cycle System, and the Practice Guide. You get all of this with the complete Drummer Roadmap. Don't you want to use a road-tested formula endorsed by the best players and educators in the industry, with proven results from drummers of all skill levels and backgrounds? Well, who is this not for? Well, people who are afraid of hard work, people who think they don't have time to practice, people not willing to sacrifice short-term for long-term goals, people not serious about improving, finding their voice, and expanding their musical connections. More importantly, who is this for? People who are positive, willing to put in the real effort, are ready to put some skin in the game, want to play drums at a professional level and move their drumming career to the next stage. They have the desire to understand and connect all styles of music. They are seeking creativity and their own voice on the drums. You have two options. Option 1, go at it alone. It's a long road, confusing. It may seem cheaper, but it's full of mistakes, very painful, many detours, and many road closings. Or option 2, we go at this together. It's a faster route, fewer detours. You're investing in yourself. There will be much less pain, clear directions, a roadmap to follow, and we're going to have a lot of fun. The question is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to see if what we have to offer could help you? If we can't, you've lost nothing. If so, your entire music world is about to break open. So, let's talk. We'll do a 45-minute chat on Zoom. We'll diagnose your situation and see where you're at. We'll see if this program would work for you. If it doesn't, we go our separate ways. But if it can, we'll create a roadmap to get you where you want to go. It'll be the most productive 45 minutes you spent on your drumming journey this year. If this sounds like you, and you want to use a proven method by someone who's already done the painful research for you, expand your playing universe, massively improve, and have a lot of fun doing it, then click the link below. We've set up some time over the next 5 days to talk with people about the program. When you click the link below, you'll be taken to a calendar where you can set up a day and a time that works for you. To guarantee maximum results, the group has a limited number of spots. We just can't work with too many people at one time. It just doesn't work. So when the program is full, we won't be setting up any more calls. Click the link and find a good time to chat with us. Together, we'll find the best way for you to succeed. Your drumming is going to launch like a science rocket. All right, click the link. We look forward to talking to you.